to buy a home, get your keys, open doors with K-Night.
When it's time to sell your home, that's right.
It's real estate agent K-Night.
She can help you sell your
When it's time to transition, watch K-Night.
Hey, I'm Kemasha Knight with Key Knight Realty Group. Welcome to Real Estate, Real Answers, Real Keys. Today, we're talking about something every buyer eventually faces, and that's competition. The title of today's episode is The Key to Winning in a Competitive Market. Now, when people hear the word competition, they often think about beating someone else. But in real estate, winning isn't really about beating other buyers. It's about being prepared when the opportunity arrives. I've watched buyers lose homes they loved, not because they weren't qualified, but because they didn't have enough money, not because they made a bad offer, but because they weren't prepared when the moment came. And I've watched other buyers walk into opportunities with confidence because they had already done the work before the house hit the market. So the same thing is true in life. You know, many people think opportunities are missed because they weren't talented enough. Often they're missed because they weren't prepared enough. So today I want to talk about why preparation is one of the greatest competitive advantages that you can have in real estate, in life, in your walk with God. Let's start with the practical side. In a competitive market, buyers often find themselves competing with multiple offers. When that happens, every advantage matters. So the strongest buyers are typically those who have already been pre-approved. They've reviewed their finances, they've established a budget, they've identified their priorities, and they've prepared their documentation. So they've made decisions before the pressure arrives. Why? Because when the right home appears, there's often limited time to decide. So the buyers who hesitate are often the buyers who haven't prepared. They're still trying to figure out what they can afford, what they want, whether they're ready. Meanwhile, the prepared buyers, they can move confidently because the decision-making process began long before the opportunity appeared. Preparation removes unnecessary confusion. Preparation reduces emotional decision-making. Preparation creates confidence, and confidence often wins. Not because prepared buyers are luckier, it's just that they are ready. The same thing happens in life. People often admire successful individuals and assume they were simply fortunate. What they don't see is the preparation. They don't see the promotion. They don't see the years of development. They see the opportunity. They don't see the discipline, they see the result. One of the greatest misconceptions in life is believing that preparation begins after an opportunity arrives. But preparation begins before. In fact, most opportunities reveal preparation. They don't create it. Think about athletes. Think about business leaders. Think about successful marriages. Think about effective parents. Think about strong leaders. Success is rarely built in public moments. It's built in private preparation. The moment simply reveals what has already been developed. Now, one of my favorite biblical examples is Nehemiah. And Nehemiah is often remembered for rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. But the rebuilding didn't begin when construction started. The rebuilding began during preparation. Before Nehemiah ever touched a stone, he prayed, fasted, assessed, sought permission, gathered resources. The public success was built upon private preparation. As someone who walks in a prophetic calling, I've learned that God often prepares us long before he positions us. Many people pray for open doors, but they often overlook the preparation. Many people are asking God for opportunities, but they resist development. The prophetic perspective teaches us that preparation is often part of the answer to the prayer. God doesn't simply open the doors, he develops people, right? Because what good is an opportunity if you aren't prepared to steward it? Sometimes the season you're in isn't a waiting season, it's a preparation season. And preparation is never wasted. So let me encourage someone today. You may feel like nothing significant is happening, and you may feel overlooked. You may feel like others are moving ahead of you, but I want you to ask yourself this. What if God is using this season to prepare you? What if the delay is not the denial? What if the hidden work is actually preparation for visible impact? Now, one of the things I've learned is that God often develops capacity before he increases responsibility. And that opportunity that isn't supported by preparation can become very overwhelming. Preparation is one of God's greatest gifts. Winning rarely happens in the moment. Winning happens before the moment. The buyer who wins the house prepared before the showing, and the leader who succeeds prepared before the opportunity. The believer who walks confidently prepared before the assignment. Preparation creates confidence because preparation creates readiness. You don't have to control the market. You don't have to control every circumstance. You simply need to prepare yourself for for the opportunity God places before you. So if you're planning to buy a home in the next year, ask yourself this: what can I prepare today? Can you improve your credit score? Can you increase your savings? Can you meet with a lender? Can you clarify your priorities? Can you learn more about the market? Every step of preparation increases your ability to act confidently when the right opportunity arrives. And remember, the strongest buyers don't wait until they find the house to prepare. They prepare before they find the house. So today's real estate key is this: strong buyers prepare before competition begins. And today's life key is confidence comes from preparation. Because at Key Night Realty Group, we believe in real estate, real answers, real keys. This episode encouraged you. Please subscribe to the channel, share it with someone preparing for the next chapter of their lives, and leave a comment below. Here's a question: what is one thing you're preparing for right now? I'm Key Mashanite, and I'll see you next time. And remember, the real estate key is preparing before the opportunity arrives. The life key is understanding that preparation is often God's way of getting you ready for what's next.
List it, love it, close it tight. Real estate done right with Key Mashanite.